Hello, and welcome to today's podcast episode where we'll be discussing a fascinating case study of how Liventus worked with a client, Now Foods, to build a custom B2B ordering system that met their unique business needs. I'm your host, Danielle Dolloff. And today we have with us Tim Dolloff. Tim Dolloff is the Executive Vice President of Client Engagement and an expert podcaster. He's been running a hobby podcast for a few years that was just nominated for a big award. Maybe he'll want to talk about that later. Anyway, since joining Liventus in 2017, Tim has overseen the open source and e-commerce development teams with a focus on driving positive client relationships and delivering leading edge products for those clients. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get into it. Can you tell us a little bit about the project and what Now Foods needed?
Yeah, so this was an interesting project. Obviously, we do a lot of e-commerce work and oftentimes B2B. And if you're not familiar with that term, B2B means business to business. So this is where usually a manufacturer or distributor is selling to retailers or other businesses rather than selling direct to consumers. So in Now's case, they're one of the largest health food manufacturers in the United States. They manufacture vitamins and supplements, but also, healthy food products. And most of their clients are retailers. They have about 15,000 unique retailers across the United States. This would be anywhere from stores like Whole Foods that are carrying their products on the shelves, but also smaller retailers, mom and pop health food stores and things like that. So they're taking a lot of orders from a lot of different places. Prior to us helping them develop this solution, all of their orders were placed in kind of traditional sales channels, phone calls, faxes with orders on it. And obviously that takes a lot of manpower, a lot of data entry, and oftentimes errors. If a customer is placing an order over a phone and the order entry person takes the order incorrectly, enters it wrong, then the customer doesn't get what they want. So what they were looking for was a solution to kind of solve two problems. One, just to make it more convenient and easier for their customers to order. They could order 24 hours a day. They can, place the order. Again, I mentioned some of these are small businesses. So the opportunity for somebody to finish up their day at their retail store and then go home and sit on the couch in front of the TV and place an order. That's the way that, a lot of these small business owners are working. But also the other solution, obviously, is to make sure that the customers are getting what they want. It saves, Now Foods a lot of costs in returns, in, reshipping products that were placed incorrectly and things like that. So the goal of this solution was to give their customers a great ordering tool and streamline their process and reduce Now's costs in the meantime.
Yeah, I bet it had a huge positive impact on their business.
Yeah, in fact, we saw within about 6 months of this solution going live, and it's been live for several years now, but within about 6 months, more than 50% of their retailer orders were placed through this solution instead of over phone orders at that point. So really, great response from their retailers as far as the excitement about using it, but also, adaptation of it.
Yeah, people need an easy, frictionless experience, no matter where they're doing business. So that makes a lot of sense. All right, for those of us who don't really understand what a custom B2B ordering system is, would you explain it in its simplest form and kind of how it helps the enterprise?
Yeah, you can think of it as, if you're a consumer and you're going to place an order online, let's say you go to Amazon, you have search tools, you can find the product you're looking for, you can add to cart, you can choose shipping options, right? So that's an e-commerce solution. Well, a B2B ordering system works kind of the same way, but it has unique needs. The idea being that a retailer is going to be placing an order. So they need to be able to find the products they're adding to the cart. And we gave them a few different tools to do that, but they also need to be able to check the pricing. And this is where this type of solution gets more complicated because oftentimes businesses have very unique pricing structure. Every customer doesn't pay the same amount. They may pay a different amount based on the terms that they have with their, their payment terms. They may pay a different amount based on the size of the business and how much they order. They may pay a different amount based on negotiated rates. And then there are things like volume pricing. So if they order a case of something, they might get a discount versus ordering individual products. So lots of unique pricing there. But essentially, it's a lot like a consumer e-commerce solution otherwise, in that the retailer or the business owner goes in, finds the product they're looking for, gets to see the pricing, gets to see if it's in stock, how much quantity is available. If they add a certain amount, they'll see quantity discounts, and then they add it to their order. And then, of course, the checkout is a little unique here in that generally these customers are not paying just with credit card, although some of them are, but they may be paying with terms that they've got on their account. They may be paying with credits that they've got on their account. And so they'll be able to review their order at the end, set the delivery address. Oftentimes it's multiple stores that they're shipping to. And, some of the unique things as well is that they don't want somebody to go in here and add a new delivery location without kind of confirming it with Now Foods as far as making sure that it's a valid location, that you don't have an employee that's going in there and having stuff shipped to their home address or something like that. So there's some extra checks and balances here that wouldn't be in a consumer shopping experience, but otherwise very streamlined, since for the most part we know what terms the customers are using, what addresses they're typically shipping to. We give them exactly the information they need to get that checked out quickly. And that's essentially what it's doing. Some other unique things here with a ordering solution like this is obviously customers want to see what they've ordered in the past. Maybe they want to purchase the same product, so they can always look up their past order history. They can look up orders that are in process and see where it is. Has it been, is it in freight shipping right now? Is it still being processed at the warehouse? Or is it marked that it was delivered? So they know if one of their stores already received the orders they're waiting for. So a lot of convenient tools for businesses who are trying to get their products delivered.
Sounds like a very complex and highly impactful solution that you've created for them. Can you tell us about the process of how you guys went about building it? Kind of give us a little insight into that.
Sure. What's unique about this solution is there were a couple challenges here that were unique even for a B2B ordering system that we needed to work with. Number one is that we needed to integrate very heavily with Now's ERP system, or their enterprise resource planning system. So they use an Oracle system, and what I mentioned was the pricing structure is particularly unique here in that it's not just pricing, kind of different pricing tiers, which we see with a lot of B2B solutions, or just quantity-based pricing, but also every individual customer could have different pricing based on different SKUs. They do a lot of heavy negotiation with their customers as far as how each customer can have unique pricing. And so this gave us an opportunity to interact directly with their ERP solution. And that was one of the big challenges we had to solve, something that isn't necessarily possible or wouldn't be feasible in kind of an off-the-shelf solution. And we often use an off-the-shelf tool as a starting place, even for custom B2B ordering systems. Magento or Adobe Commerce is one of our primaries. But in this case, because of the need for real-time pricing on individual SKU levels, so heavy integration there, because of the need for some unique ordering processes or tools that an average B2B solution doesn't need, we identified a completely custom solution would be the best fit here. What that meant is we went through a discovery phase with the client. We talked about their specific requirements. We wireframed out, really what every screen was going to look like. What's the user experience for the customer that's going to make the most sense? As I mentioned, they had a couple unique ordering processes that they wanted to give their customers because some of their customers want to shop like a normal e-commerce. They needed to be able to kind of search by maybe product type or by brand and see a list of those products and kind of add them to a cart. So a traditional shopping experience. But the more normal customer knows what they're ordering for the most part. Maybe they just have a list of SKUs that they just want to plug in. So we gave them a really simple order tool where all they have to do is type in the SKU, or they can type in the name of the product and it will come up with a matching result and they can choose it. But if they type in the SKU, and then it will immediately send a response back to their ERP system, which will tell the orderer how, if that is available, if it's in stock, how much quantity is available to order, and what their specific pricing is. And then all the customer has to do is just enter the quantity and add it to cart. So really simple process to get all of that information delivered quickly without doing a normal search process. We also gave them a way to really simply import a CSV of their order. So they can just provide a CSV that has the SKU numbers and the quantities, upload it, and then once it's uploaded, the system checks and shows them which of those products are in stock, and what the pricing is for all of those products. So a couple different ways for the customer to order. So we identified all those tools that were necessary for their consumers. We identified the other tools that they wanted on the solution, including some, marketing materials that the customers could order, integrations with their digital asset management system, which provided promotional ads and materials that the retailers may use in their stores. And as well, of course, integrated security, where there is a way for the retailer to log in. So none of this pricing, none of the information is available until the retailer logs in, but also a way for them to register for an account if they don't already have an online account. And the tools for the customer service reps at Now to manage these accounts, to help customers if they're having problems, to make sure they can help them set up new accounts for new employees and things like that. So we went through a requirement gathering phase where we clearly documented those requirements. We wireframed it, as I mentioned. And what wireframing means is we kind of provide rough mock-ups and prototypes of what these screens are going to look like, where are fields, what information is going to be displayed, what fields are validated. And once we got through that process and everything was signed off on, then we start with a couple steps in the process. We do some more detailed design mockups to start to hone in on what the site is going to look like. Does it match Now's brand? Does it match their other technology solutions for the retailers? But we also start the development process. So identifying the correct architecture for the solution, where is it going to be hosted, and start to build out the actual technology stack at that point.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. And it sounds like, I would imagine, in order to achieve the desired results, you have to work really closely with the client, lockstep with them.
Absolutely. So, our normal process is using what's known as an agile development method. And what that means is that throughout the development process on any type of custom solution, and this was no exception, we do at minimum bi-weekly sprints and bi-weekly check-ins with the client. So what that means is we meet with the client, we discuss what's going to be done over that next 2 weeks, what the goals are, make sure that the requirements are clear for those features. And then at the end of that 2 weeks, we come back and we demo it for them. We show them the process, how it's starting to look, what tools are coming together, get immediate feedback on those things. So we don't get to the end of the project and there's no surprises about what they're going to see, what the end tool is going to look like. And so that's a normal part of our process, and it works really well to make sure that the end result is the desired result. But of course, in the middle of those 2-week sprints, there may be questions that come up. And so we have a kind of an ongoing collaboration with our clients, setting up ad hoc meetings as needed, or setting up specific meetings to cover solutions that aren't going to be covered in a sprint meeting. So yeah, a lot of communication, a lot of talking with the client and making sure they're very aware of the process.
Yeah, I bet that yields much better the results than trying to collect all the requirements up front and then we all cross our fingers and hope we hit the goals. It's better to work together, and then allows them to pivot, I imagine.
Yep, that's
a little bit, make some changes a little bit less painfully, I guess. So you talked about it, touch on it a little bit, but if you could kind of recap, what do you think some of the benefits for Now Foods after implementing this B2B ordering system? Yeah,
I think first and foremost is it reduced their costs quite a bit. They did not have to continue to grow their inside sales team or their customer service team. They've been able to streamline that department in their company, and a lot of what the customer service team was doing is now handled by the technology. We provided a better solution for their consumers or for the retailers rather, which makes them more likely to order Now products than it would if they have to get on a phone and order with the competitor. So it made it easier for their retailers to order Now products, and more likely that they'll do that. Some of the tools in there also show the retailers what are current discounts, what are current promos going on, something that a customer service rep may not be able to present over a phone while taking an order. And so kind of upsell or additional selling to those customers helped increase Now's sales. Less returns because the retailers are placing the order and getting exactly what they want when they're completed with it, and just more visibility, the tools, so that they can see where their order is, less calls into customer service checking on the status of things. So overall, increased revenue for Now, decreased cost, and increased customer satisfaction from the retailers.
And competitive advantage also, it sounded like. That's right. I think any company would like to have that. So, as you think about what you built for Now Foods and what you've done for them, what advice would you give to another company looking to engage in a similar project?
I think the important thing to think about is that this is an investment and there is a return on investment, but it is going to be something that happens over a little bit of time. So, there's not zero cost in a project like this, but there was a huge payoff for Now. And it's a product that over the years we've been supporting them and continue to add features as we took customer feedback. And I think that's another important thing to understand here is, although the product was received really well and customers started using it, they also provided valuable feedback into things that would benefit them for the future. And so Now has continued to grow those things. Some of those include the ability to just walk through with a mobile device on the site in a store and scan products on their shelf and basically add them to the order that way. So, just keeping in mind that there's an opportunity to continue to improve and grow and accept customer feedback after you've got a tool like this in place. So it's not a one and done type of situation if you really want it to be the most beneficial.
Yeah, constantly evolving, keeping up with trends, keeping up with technology. I'm sure it's an evolution always. Tell me, how long have you been working with Now Foods?
Yeah, they've been a customer of mine for since 2007. So we're coming up on 16 years at this point.
Yeah. Significant impact on that organization. Significant relationship, certainly.
Yep.
For sure. Thank you, Tim, for sharing your insights and experience with us today. It was great to have you. Listeners, if you have questions or comments on today's episode, please feel free to reach out to us on social media or email. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, we'll wrap up this episode of Liventus podcast, Live Bite. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.